Dillard College of Business Administration, distinguished alumnus Luke Levasseur. Luke Levasseur lives in our nation's capital and practices law with one of the largest firms in the world. He has argued cases at the Supreme Court level and counts as clients some of the largest corporations in the world. But his track to a law degree began here at Midwestern State. Luke was born in Lafayette, Louisiana, to parents Dr. Justin and Ms. Joan Levasseur. The family moved with their 3 boys to Wichita Falls, where Luke attended Notre Dame High School and played football there. After graduating from Notre Dame, Luke attended MSU, where he studied under English professors Jeff Campbell and Tom Hoffman and Dr. Yoshi Fukasawa and Dr. Garland Hadley in business. He appreciated the informal atmosphere and smaller class size at Midwestern and the ability to know his professors on a more personal level. Luke was a member of Phi Sigma Kappa and held several offices, including president. He was a member of the Mortar Board and the Interfraternity Council and participated in the College Bowl competition. Luke earned his Bachelor of Business Administration from Midwestern State University in 1989. Levasseur then moved to New Orleans to attend Tulane Law School. Because of his high grades, he was made part of the Tulane Law Review his first year there. The Law Review is the most prestigious journal at most law schools. In his junior year, he was elected editor-in-chief of the Review. He graduated magna cum laude from Tulane with a Doctor of Jurisprudence in 1992. He was made a member of the Order of the Coif for being in the top 10% of his class. Although Luke's college years involved hours of study and poring over law books, he did take some time for fun, playing in a rock and roll band. After law school, Luke clerked for the Honorable Jacques L. Wiener, Jr. of the United States Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. Judge Wiener was a major influence on Luke's law career. Luke said his focus on detail and language taught him much about how to practice law. Luke took a few months to travel in Europe and Asia after his clerkship, then settled on the law firm of Mayer, Brown & Platt in Washington, D.C. His brief of Bailey v. United States, argued by a colleague before the U.S. Supreme Court, won a 9-0 court victory for their client and changed the law related to a mandatory minimum gun-drug statute for most of the country. In 1997, Levasseur went to work as a trial attorney for the Civil Division Commercial Litigation Branch of the United States Department of Justice. While there, Luke represented the government in large money claims against the United States. He served as lead counsel for or had a significant role during the trial and appeal of several large cases that were part of the Winstar-related litigation. The Winstar cases involved billions of dollars in claims against the government and were based on legislative and regulatory changes in the financial services industry. Litigating those cases required a detailed understanding of a wide array of banking, regulatory, and accounting issues, as well as complex economic issues related to the damages claims presented at trial. Luke received a special commendation from the government for his work on the Winstar cases. On another case, Luke designed a claim resolution process that calculated and resolved the claims of more than 150 federal judges around the country. He received the John Marshall Award for Outstanding Legal Achievement for Alternative Dispute Resolution for that work. In addition to Judge Wiener, Luke gives credit to fellow lawyers Janine E. Davidson and Marcia G. Madsen, lawyers of the Department of Justice and in private practice, with having an influence in his career and his life. Luke returned to the Mayer Brown firm in 2006 and represents clients such as Lockheed Martin and other government contractors. He has served on the Board of Governors of the U.S. Court of Federal Claims Bar Association and in 2012 was elected president of the association. He is the co-author of the Government Contracts chapter in an American Bar Association treatise related to federal legislation. Luke's older brother Matt Levasseur, also an MSU alum, lives in Wichita Falls, and younger brother Mark Levasseur lives in Santa Fe, New Mexico. In 1997, Luke married Catherine Ray. They have 2 children, Henry, age 14, and Jackie, age 11. Like any other law firm or in any life situation, Luke says his firm has had great wins and tough losses. Win or lose, we thank you for the honor you've brought to Midwestern State. Gunn College of Health Sciences and Human Services, Distinguished Alumnus Jay Hicks. School did not come easy for Jay Hicks. He struggled and agonized with his homework every single day. But with a persistent mom and a stubborn will, and despite the beautiful Louisiana outdoors calling his name, he decided that he would make the best grades possible and make his parents proud. Jay was the youngest son of 3 children born to Leon and Hazel Hicks in rural Red River Parish near Coushatta, Louisiana. His parents would work extra hard to ensure that he and his sisters were provided with the best possible education and opportunities. All Jay really wanted to do was be outside, playing with the cows, chickens, dogs, or climbing trees. His mother, on the other hand, had bigger plans for her son. She would say over and over again, "You can sit here all night, but you are not going outside until your homework is done." She had all but given up when Jay decided for himself that school would be his ticket to greater things, and thus began his journey toward a love for education and teaching. After graduating high school from Riverdale Academy in East Point, Louisiana, Mr. Hicks would attend Northwestern State University, where he received his Bachelor of Science in Radiologic Technology in 1998. He began working at Louisiana State University Health Sciences Center as a staff radiologist, performing diagnostic radiography, fluoroscopy, trauma radiography, computed radiography, and other duties as assigned in a Level 1 trauma center setting. In 2000, he was asked to join the Northwestern State University faculty as an adjunct instructor. The boy who didn't like school was now teaching and decided to further his education. He began taking graduate-level classes at Midwestern State and earned his Master of Science in Radiologic Sciences in 2005. Hicks comically remembered the first day of his graduate work. It was a cold January morning in 2003, and after he got into his car to head off to campus from the hotel, he let off the emergency brake, accelerated, and the car tried to go in a circle. The emergency brake had actually frozen and would not release. After contacting former graduate chair Dr. Nadia Bug, she sent the cavalry to rescue him. That cavalryman was the now dean of the college, Dr. James Johnston, who at the time was completing his own master's practicum at the university. Some of Hicks' favorite memories at MSU include the weekend courses with the many friends that he made while in the program and the camaraderie that developed with his classmates. To this day, the Master of Science in Radiologic Science program is a common thread to many working professionals that he encounters at conferences, workshops, etc. Hicks is currently the Associate Director of the Joint Review Committee on Education in Radiologic Technology. He oversees many aspects of the accreditation process, including the scheduling of site visits, assignment of site visitors to teams, development of site visitor workshops and training webinars, and evaluations of the site visit process. He is also the administrator of web conferencing software and scheduling monthly electronic board meetings. Jay has held office and served on committees in numerous radiological organizations where he is a member, including the American Society of Radiologic Technologists, the Association of Educators in Imaging and Radiologic Sciences, American Registry of Radiologic Technologists, and others, serving on the Curriculum Revision Committee, Membership Committee, and holding offices. In 2007, he was named the Technologist of the Year by the Louisiana Society of Radiologic Technologists and received the Monster Medical Educators Scholarship. He was quick to recognize 2007-2008 Gunn College of Health Sciences and Human Services Distinguished Alumnus Dr. Laura Aaron as his most important advisor and mentor during the past 17 years, but claimed that it is her friendship that is most treasured and precious to him. His parents have been married over 50 years and taught him and his sisters the true meaning of hard work, selflessness, and devotion. His husband, Dr. Javier Jara, is a neuroscientist at the Northwestern University's Feinberg School of Medicine's Neurology Department in Chicago, where he conducts research on amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, or Lou Gehrig's disease. The boy who struggled in school is now pursuing a doctorate of education in leadership at Creighton University in Omaha, Nebraska. He appreciates MSU faculty members Drs. Donna Wright, Jeff Killian, and James Johnston, who have been resources as he continues to develop professionally, and he is also proud to call them friends. He says that the connections that he's made and his professional advancements are directly related to the Master of Science in Radiologic Science program at Midwestern State, and that forever makes him proud to be a Mustang. The couple reside in Chicago, Illinois. Lamar D. Fain College of Fine Arts, distinguished alumnus Shawnette Hildebrand. She was supposed to have been a boy, Sean, which is why she is Shawnette. Growing up in Enid, Oklahoma did not necessarily afford Ms. Hildebrand a big offering of cultural events, but her mother and father both loved music, and that love was certainly passed down to her. Shawnette was the fifth, and supposed to be the last, of 6 children born to Herbert Hildebrand and Betty Blair Hildebrand: Sabrina, Sunrisa, Shane, Starlene, Shawnette, and Sherilyn. Shawnette's mother insisted that all of her 6 children take piano lessons, and they all practiced on the little Wurlitzer they had at home. Once she could play well enough, her mother would have her play old songs and sing with them. Ms. Hildebrand also started singing when she was in kindergarten, and she recalled that even though she did not have formal voice training until very late, she thought it was fun, and there was no pressure to sing. However, something made her very nervous about being behind the piano. Her mother and father were staunch Baptists, and she grew up singing in the church, where it was slow and steady, and she was not allowed to improvise. But she was asked to sing solos, and you could already hear that she had a nice voice. After graduating from Enid High School in 1980, she was offered a scholarship to Midwestern State University and immediately had a connection with Dr. Don Maxwell. She said she thought he seemed to know what he was doing. He worked with her on the foundation of her voice, and that would pave the way for Ms. Hildebrand. While at Midwestern State University, Shawnette was active in Alpha Lambda Delta Freshman Honor Society, a member of the University Concert Choir, and the Wichita Falls Regional Theater. She was also able to perform weekly at her recital classes, which proved to be invaluable. Shawnette felt as if she belonged at MSU. The source of this feeling extended from the professors and staff to cafeteria, grounds personnel, and maintenance workers. Enid, Oklahoma was a town that could choke a young person if he or she didn't come from an important family. But Midwestern supplied opportunity regardless of background. After being named Miss Wichita Falls in 1984, Shawnette graduated magna cum laude with a Bachelor of Arts in Music from Midwestern State University in 1985. After graduate work at MSU and with encouragement from Dr. Maxwell, she studied with vocal teacher Cornelius Reed in New York City and at Bonn University in Bonn, Germany, where she received a diploma in German studies. Hildebrand continued her vocal studies in New York City until 1991 when she moved to Europe. She is active as both a classical and jazz singer, but it is especially in the European jazz scene that she has established popularity among both audiences and musicians. Besides being the featured vocalist for Frank Robertschuten's Hip-Tet, Three's a Crowd, the Swing Cats, and the Echoes of Swing Orchestra, Shawnette has performed with such musicians as Franz Jackson, Truck Parham, Harry Allen, Edie Locke, and Hazy Osterwald at major jazz festivals in Europe, and can be heard on various recordings with the leading traditional jazz musicians of Europe. In the recently published work Growing Up with Jazz from Oxford University Press, writer Royal Stokes interviews 24 jazz musicians about their early influences, among them Eubie Blake, Jane Monheit, and Shawnette Hildebrand. Besides being the vocal docent at the Regional Institute for Culture and Kunst in Weert, the Netherlands, she is an invited instructor at master classes and workshops for both jazz and classical music in Europe and the United States. Shawnette has long concentrated on Billie Holiday's singing style and has achieved a remarkable proximity. This has taught her much. For one thing, she has acquired a huge, diverse repertoire of fantastic songs far from all the cliches assorted with female vocalists. In the meantime, however, she has freed herself from this powerful initial role model and just sings naturally in her own personal style, embracing influences from many other great vocalists. She has great swing, exquisite phrasing and taste, and sings immaculately. She is now a popular jazz performer in Europe and has been interviewed on radio programs and appeared on television. She has released numerous CDs, the latest of which is Life is a Song from 2012. Notable professors at MSU include Dr. Don Maxwell in voice, Ivy Boland in piano, Dr. Karen Rogers in English, Dr. John Grimes in biology, and Viola Grady, the Dean of Students. Hildebrand is grateful to many at MSU, from building custodians who allowed her extra time to practice at night to professors who recognized how serious she was about her music studies. She said that she improved not only because she wanted to improve, but because someone gave her the chance. Time and opportunity were offered to those who wanted to achieve. Many great singers of our times have served as mentors to Hildebrand over the years. She said that underneath their beautiful voices lay the hidden discipline and devotion to their art. But she was also quick to note that those closest to her have had the biggest impact on her life, her mother and her sisters. They are the source of her strength and love. College of Science and Mathematics, distinguished alumnus Alexander Passos. Alexander, Alex, Passos was born December 6, 1976 in Santos, Brazil, to Ina and Nelson Passos. He has one sister, Katia Mayfield. The Passos family lived in the mega metropolis of Sao Paulo, Brazil, a city of 20 million. Alex's father worked for an American computer manufacturing company with a branch office in Sao Paulo. Alex attended preschool and kindergarten in Sao Paulo. While in school, he showed an aptitude for drawing schematics of make-believe cars, spaceships, and airplanes, with a flair for science fiction. In 1982, the Passos family relocated to Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. While in Rio, Alex attended first grade and enjoyed the beach, tropical weather, and Carnival. In 1985, the family relocated back to Sao Paulo, Brazil, where Alex attended middle school. During middle school, Alex won the school system championship for indoor volleyball. In Rio, it's common to see people playing a sport called foot volley. While attending junior high school in Sao Paulo, Alex was introduced to his first computer tools, a video game known as Odyssey, and a microcomputer MSX model equivalent to the American TRS-80. This was a life-changing introduction, and Alex was hooked. His curiosity for the technology was insatiable, so much that his father bought him a subscription to the technology magazine Input. Alex collected all the issues and later bound them together into a 5-volume computer programming encyclopedia. In 1990, the family once again relocated. This move took them to Grand Forks, North Dakota, where his father would pursue his master's degree. Alex experienced snow for the first time in Grand Forks and relates that North Dakota was a very cold place for a Brazilian or anyone else. The family's next relocation would be to South Bend, Indiana. Alex would graduate from high school at John Adams High School in South Bend. He was accepted to the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks in 1994 to pursue a degree in computer science. Later in his student career, Alex joined the UND Aerospace Distance Education Program as a student engineer. During this time, the internet was small, and Alex and his team were already pioneering ways to deliver classroom content through a web browser. It was at the University of North Dakota that Alex met Jane Wolfe, the love of his life. In 1998, Alex and Jane relocated to Wichita Falls, Texas, to pursue master's degrees at Midwestern State University. While at MSU, Alex was a member of the Association for Computing Machinery and Upsilon Pi Epsilon. He was a graduate teaching assistant for computer science, as well as an adjunct instructor for distance education and management information systems. He has fond memories of his time at MSU, which includes his and Jane's graduation with master's degrees with GPAs of 4.0, co-developing the game programming class activities with Richard Simpson, and taking students on a field trip to Ensemble Studios, now Microsoft Game Studios, to meet engineers, business analysts, and the President's CED, where they had the opportunity to demo their class game projects. He also loved the MSU home basketball games and the fireworks at football games. When asked about some of his most notable professors or staff at the university, Alex felt Richard Simpson deserves special recognition. Alex feels Mr. Simpson's work with students is always pushing the envelope with available technology. Alex feels his mother and father have influenced his life and career by encouraging him to learn and use computers at an early age. His professors at MSU also influenced his life because he learned not only coursework, but also teaching, preparation, research, and other soft skills required to succeed as a graduate teaching assistant. In 2004, Alex accepted a position with Vernon College as an instructional technology designer. In this role, Alex worked with instructors to apply technology to their curriculum while creating classrooms for the future. While at Vernon College, Alex created an online application to deliver instructional content to students. The web-enabled interactive applications were a hit with faculty and students. After 3 years with Vernon College, Alex accepted a position as software engineer with GoDaddy.com. Alex relocated to Cedar Rapids, Iowa in 2007 to join the domains team as an engineer. In this role, Alex worked on the team that developed the technology to provision and manage internet domain names for the company. All 58 million of them. He credits Jeremy Bushlack, his current supervisor at GoDaddy, as being a mentor also. Bushlack took it upon himself to build Alex into a leader and teach him qualities of leadership, human relations, people, and project management. In 2012, Alex became an American citizen. And in 2013, Alex and Jane became proud parents to Isabella Wolfe Passos. If you ask everyone who knows Alex and Jane, they thought this day would never come. Today, Alex continues to work for GoDaddy.com as the engineering manager for the registrar team. In this role, Alex leads a team of 5 engineers in creating the next generation of software that will help shape the internet. Alex was recently named in 4 patent applications on behalf of GoDaddy as co-inventor of new technologies. Recently, Alex has helped to connect graduating MSU students from the computer science department with jobs in the Silicon Valley through his network of connections. Prothro Yeager College of Humanities and Social Sciences Distinguished Alumnus, Carolyn Perot. Carolyn Perot was born to Marcel and Gertie Perot and was raised in Wichita Falls, along with her sister Judy Perot Bankhead of Dallas and her brothers Richard Perot of Wichita Falls and Joe Perot of Dallas. Her father attended Midwestern, then Hardin College, on the GI Bill right after World War II. Her sister attended MU, and both of her brothers graduated from the university. Midwestern was in her blood. While attending Midwestern State, she was primarily involved in the Wichitan student newspaper. She was a reporter her freshman year, features editor her sophomore year, managing editor her junior year, and editor-in-chief her senior year. She also worked as a student assistant in the News and Information Office and the Sports Information Office. In addition, she was a member of the Student Senate, the Religious Council, and the Newman Club all 4 years. Her senior year, she was elected to the Alpha Chi Scholastic Honor Society and named to Who's Who in American colleges and universities. Plus, she was in the honors program all 4 years of undergraduate school. Carolyn Perot graduated cum laude from Midwestern State University in 1970 with a Bachelor of Arts in English and was the outstanding graduate from the Department of English that year. She went on to earn a Master of Arts in English. Perot recalled that the late 60s were, in many ways, the best of times to be a student at a small liberal arts university where almost everyone knew your name. She claims she and her fellow students protested against the war and marched for civil rights, that they held prayer services for world peace and wrote editorials against requiring phys ed courses, that they demanded and got student access to Board of Regents meetings long before Texas passed an Open Meetings Act, and that they led the charge to name the D.L. Ligon Coliseum after their favorite coach. Joseph Satin was chairman of the English department, Hardin professor from 1966 to 1967, and her faculty advisor. Carolyn took 2 Shakespeare courses from him at a time when his book, Shakespeare and His Sources, was being used in colleges and universities all over the country, including Ivy League schools. She was an English major who had never taken a course or worked on a high school newspaper, and only got into the journalism profession because Dr. Satin needed more journalism minors and convinced her that she could write. Perot says she's been a newspaper journalist ever since. It's as simple as that. By now, writing was in her blood. One of her earliest medical articles was written as a freshman journalist on the Wichita staff. Dr. Arthur Beyer suggested she write a first-person account of donating blood during a Red Cross blood drive. She did, and made a friend of Beyer, who often called to suggest other stories. James Hoggard was her favorite professor at MSU. She took every course he taught, creative writing, twice. Dr. Harry Brown nurtured her love of poetry and the Romantics, and once, totally without warning, asked her to take charge of a class and waved goodbye as he walked out the door to attend a meeting. That was the last time she dared to not be prepared for his class. Ted Landfair and Roy Allen were her first and only journalism professors. Each, in turn, also served as MU Sports Information Officer, and she served as their student assistant. Ms. Perot claimed all of her English and journalism professors greatly influenced her, as did Ted Buss and Nick Golson of the Wichita Falls Times and Record News. They taught her to love basketball and football and how to keep play-by-play and individual stats so that she could help cover high school football on Friday nights. Everyone who knew anything about sports covered high school football on Friday nights. And then there were the professors she was just lucky to count as friends, Dr. Arthur Beyer, Dr. D.L. Ligon, and Coach Dennis Van Zandt among them. After graduating from MSU, Perot began working for the Times Record News, covering police, schools, district and federal courts, and sports, working as a wire editor and a news editor. She went on to write for the Fort Worth Star-Telegram from 1979 through 2008, where she was a medical and education writer. She is currently a freelance medical writer for the Fort Worth Business Press. Throughout her career, she has received more than 50 state and national awards, including the Michael E. DeBakey National Journalism Award in 2003, numerous Associated Press Managing Editors Texas Media Awards, and awards from the American Heart Association and the American Cancer Society. She serves on the Area Agency on Aging Advisory Board and other civic boards in the Fort Worth area. Ms. Perot is married to Jack Strickland, a longtime criminal defense attorney in Fort Worth, and now a deputy chief in the Tarrant County DA's office. They have one daughter, Kate Strickland, and a son, Jeff Strickland. The couple reside in Fort Worth, Texas. Gordon T. and Ellen West College of Education distinguished alumnus Raymond Roddy Atkins. In a story for Texas Monthly, author Skip Hollandsworth wrote about his experiences growing up in Wichita Falls in the shadow of the former Wichita Falls State Hospital and of volunteering there as a teenager. While visiting the hospital researching his story, he was surprised to run into his former Wichita Falls high school classmate, Roddy Atkins. Skip thought Roddy would grow up to be a famous tennis player because of his wicked backhand, but Roddy chose a different path in life. Roddy was born to Dr. Raymond and Myra Beth Atkins and grew up in Wichita Falls. He attended Wichita Falls High School where he played tennis. Longtime Old High tennis coach Chuck Avra was a major influence on Roddy, teaching him about competition, observation and analysis, and winning and losing, all traits that would serve him in his career. Roddy graduated from Old High in 1975. Roddy earned his Bachelor of Science in Psychology in 1980 and his Master of Education in Counseling in 1987, both from Midwestern State University. While in school, Roddy married his wife, Nancy Crawford, and they had 2 children. As a graduate student, Roddy formed relationships with former MSU professors, Drs. George Dykoff, Clarence Darter, Emerson Capps, Barbara Brewer, Tracy Menard, John Hensley, and Deborah Higginbotham. Each played a role that shaped the direction that his counseling career took as they developed a program geared toward mental health. Dr. Capps taught Roddy about being realistic in his role as a counselor and to focus on the person. One of Roddy's favorite memories of his time at Midwestern was just before he earned his master's degree. Former MSU President Luis Rodriguez hosted a reception for the graduates, a nice finishing touch for years of hard work. After graduation, Roddy would continue his relationship with Midwestern by working with nursing professor Dr. Susan Sportsman to develop the Family Psychiatric Mental Health Nurse Practitioner Distance Program, and by providing clinical rotations for nursing, social work, psychology, and counseling interns at the Helen Farabee Centers, and by hiring MSU graduates. Since 1998, Roddy has been the executive director of Helen Farabee Centers, a community mental health and intellectual disability center that services 19 counties in North Texas. In 2009, he was recognized by the Texas State House of Representatives for his career in improving the lives of North Texans with mental illness and intellectual disabilities. In June of 2012, Helen Farabee Regional was awarded the Community Partnership Award from the North Central Texas Community Healthcare Center. Atkins is a member of the Texas Council of Community Centers Executive Directors Consortium, where he serves on various statewide committees related to policy, service delivery, funding, and quality improvement for individuals receiving services through the public mental health and intellectual disability system. He also serves on several civic boards, including the North Texas Area United Way, Wichita Falls Area Homeless Coalition, and the Wichita County Health Coalition. He spends much of his time in Austin, keeping up with state regulations on mental health care funding. Roddy is thankful for his father, who taught him to do things right and to be persistent, and his sister Kimberly Ann, a recreation therapist at Kerrville State Hospital, who worked with the most severely mentally ill individuals. He admired her ability to reach out and successfully engage even the most difficult individuals. Roddy said she taught him that anyone can be helped. Kimberly died in 2009, the same year their dad died. Roddy credits James E. Smith, the current superintendent of North Texas State Hospital, with encouraging him to move from a clinical role to an administrative one, and for teaching him to see the big picture of focusing care on the people while navigating the politics of administration. Daryl Groth and Brent Walker are other mentors who have influenced Roddy's career. Roddy also lists his uncles, Paul Atkins and Johnny Atkins, as influences on his life. Nancy, also an MSU graduate, taught for 33 years in the Wichita Falls Independent School District, retiring early this year. Roddy and Nancy have a son and daughter, Kelly Nicole, who attends a culinary school in Austin, and Brian Christopher, an aspiring actor and writer living in California. Roddy is thankful for Nancy and her support when his passion for his work came at the expense of time spent with her and their children. Roddy also thanks the board members and the staff of Helen Farabee Centers over the years who have worked tirelessly for individuals with serious and persistent mental illness and intellectual disabilities. Roddy says they have a difficult job and often go unrecognized, but have had such a positive impact on so many lives in North Texas. And as the distinguished alumnus for the Gordon T. and Ellen West College of Education, Midwestern thanks you, Roddy, for your service to us and a special group of people. (2013) Arthur F. Beyer Distinguished Alumnus, David Hott. In 1978, Dr. Stuart Carpenter brought his family to Wichita Falls for his new job at Midwestern University. That included his wife Jan, his sons David and Stephen Hott, his son Scott Carpenter, and his daughter Debbie Carpenter. Growing up with your stepfather being the head of a university computer science department had its advantages. Young David was exposed to cool machines at an early age. Machines such as Atari's Pong game, the Commodore 64, and the IBM 370, an important link in IBM's mainframe development. David says it built curiosity in him and he really was attracted to the technology. It looked a lot like Star Trek. David watched as his stepfather built MSU's computer science department from scratch into a program that has consistently produced leaders in the technology field. But before David discovered computers, he discovered music. He started out on piano, then turned to the trumpet as his instrument of choice, making it to the All-State Band in 1984, his senior year at Rider High School. David also started singing at a young age, and in 1982 was named to the regional choir. David's inclination toward the scientific was evident in high school as a member of the Mu Alpha Theta Math Club. He was truly an extraordinary student in more ways than one. He received the Presidential Academic Fitness Award while a student at Rider and was active in Boy Scouts throughout his childhood, earning his Eagle Scout ranking. David enrolled in MSU after high school and was active in the Bible chair and ran on the cross-country team. He worked his way through school by operating lawn services, his own lawn maintenance business. Math professors, such as Dr. William Hines, Dr. John Mooks, and Dr. Lori Huffman, chemistry professor Dr. Jesse Rogers, and computer science professors Richard Simpson, Dr. Timothy Donovan, and the late James Chalfant challenged David with difficult classes, but made the learning interesting. David graduated from MSU in 1989 with a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. That led him to a career where he has worked with the top names in electronics, such as Nortel Networks and Samsung. And for the last 9 years, David has worked with the maker of one of the machines of his early fascination, IBM. David joined IBM in 2005 and is currently a software client architect responsible for the validation of more than 1,100 IBM products sold to clients. He has more than 20 years of experience in enterprise architecture, IT program management, solution design, relationship management, and other aspects of IT infrastructure. When David needs an escape from corporate America, he retreats to a tree farm near Houston, where he helps his dad and stepmother, Tom and Beth Hott, tend about 40,000 trees. David has 2 other siblings, Martha Hott and Andy Hott. David still sings, only now it's with a praise and worship team at church, for charity events, or with the Dallas Symphony Orchestra and Chorus. He has 3 sons, Matthew Hott, 23, Jonathan Hott, 20, and Daniel Hott, 14. He stays involved in their lives by coaching soccer and being a Cub Master and Boy Scout leader. And he ballroom dances and rock climbs, but not at the same time. Hott said that influences on his work ethic and character include former Scoutmaster Jim Hughes, former Rider High School choir director Donald Cowan, former Rider High School band director Pony Thompson, and former Faith Village Church of Christ youth minister James Trent. He says all these men had a profound influence on him as a boy and a young man. In 1984, when David was 18, he went on the European Cathedral Concert Tour, singing through 7 countries with the Ryder High School a cappella choir. He says that trip ruined him. It created a need for travel and adventure. Since then, he's been to 22 countries on 5 continents. He has climbed up the Mount Everest Trail in Nepal, gone cage diving with great white sharks in South Africa, seen the rainforest of Costa Rica, and walked through the ancient ruins of past civilizations in Greece, Italy, and France. He has seen the Taj Mahal twice. David's job at IBM has enabled him to visit all of those faraway places. But in his travels, David has not forgotten his home or where the foundation was laid for his career in technology. He says he spent his career working so that people all over the world could work together. And he was exposed to that attitude of globalization at Midwestern. David may not return to Wichita Falls as often as his mom would like, but he does come back home to sing at charity events and to MSU to speak at the North Texas Area Student Conference that his stepfather, now retired Professor Emeritus Dr. Carpenter, helped begin. And from now on, when he does come back to the MSU campus, we are proud to welcome him as the 2013 Arthur F. Beyer Distinguished Alumnus.